Welcome to Jomboy and Jake Radio. Today is October 15th, and we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. The Red Sox beat the Astros. The Giants lost on Thursday. We got some questions about the future of football. Am I being too mean to my grandma's dog? A guy shot a family of baboons, but it's legal, but he got out of it? I don't know. Jake and I want to bring you some more news, some more talk. So this is Jomboy and Jake Radio. We're going to have some fun, talk about some shit. We want you guys to get involved. This is a test episode, but in the future, we'd like to have some questions, voicemails, and all that. Let's start talking. That's a bad intro. The end was bad. All right, Jake, how you doing?
I'm good,
happy
Jimmy.
Monday morning. How you feeling?
Happy Monday. I feel good. The pilot, man.
Pilot app. You know what they say about pilot apps?
No.
They're usually bad.
I was going to say, I feel the pilot episode always has just one thing that feels totally off, and you're like, wow, how did that happen? Like, there's usually one character or something that you're like, oh, that guy's going to be like the number 2 person on the show. And then you watch the show 3 years later, you go back, watch the pilot, and you're like, oh my God, if that guy was on the show, this would have been
New
awful.
Girl, he wasn't even on it because that dude, Marlon's guy, had 2 shows get picked up, and he chose the other one over New Girl. And then he came back when the other one flunked. Or like the pilot of Friends, Joey was kind of a silly but street smarts guy. Like he was fixing the pipes and the plumbing for Monica and all that. And then you go to season 9 of Friends, and Joey's like literally can't even function as a human being.
Like, yeah, can't open a jar of anything.
Kind of stupid. But anyway, yeah. So also pilot shows, you're supposed to give a lot of background about the characters, which sometimes gets in the way of like natural dialogue and storytelling. I don't know. I think anyone listening to this already knows us, but if there's new people that just clicked on it, we hope to get those in the future. But my name's Jomboy. I'm coming to you from New Jersey. Should we do our rooting interest? Yankees, Giants. I'm trying to do Rangers now. I was Sharks fan for a bunch, but I was casual fan. Some people got so mad at me for like, you root for who's in your blood. I'm like, well, no one's in my blood, and I want to start watching hockey again. So why don't you chill the fuck out?
What are your This is a bad pilot up. What are your top 5 favorite sports teams? Yankees won.
Yankees won like a hard one. Like Yankees is the only team I'm die hard of. I'm die easy with a lot of the other teams.
You will die
It'd be Giants
easily.
too. West Brom Baggies. No, I'm just joking. Probably, dude, it's really hard. Probably Knicks and I'd like the Rangers to be there. I don't really, but that's such a drop off.
So you there?
Your name's Jake. What teams do you like?
There. I'm Yankees, UConn men's basketball, Los Knicks. Knicks and Broncos are tough. Dude, football's, well, we'll talk more about it later, but man, when football's right, it's still awesome.
Yeah.
Like when you get caught up in a football game, it's hard to get your energy going better than that.
All right. Well, we have some football to talk about, but let's talk about the Red Sox. They beat the Astros. Did you watch any of this game, or were you watching the football?
I watched a chunk of this game.
It was a pretty good game from a third-party perspective.
Yeah, it was. It was it was funny. It was definitely the first postseason game this year that they let the starters go a little bit after getting touched up.
Well, it's a 7-game series now, so I think in 5-game series, it's the urgency is like high, right?
Well, and it was also they kept flip-flopping the lead a little bit, so they were like, well, if we've still got the lead, let's try to get a couple more outs from our starter. And then Garrett Cole actually got hot towards the end. He retired like 7 or 11 batters in a row. So it kind of hit the point like Houston was warming up guys in the bullpen, but they were almost in the, well, Cole's pitching better, and we can kind of save bullpen guys if he's just cruising. But I don't know, man. The Sox got one. I mean, that the thing I was saying during the Yankees series is if the guys in the bottom of the Red Sox lineup order get you, that's when you're screwed. And Jackie Bradley Jr. had a big game. Devers had a big game. The ball rolling
on top of the fence.
Nuts.
Baseball is a beautifully weird sport, man. Like, any outsider has to be like, that's allowed? What the hell was that? I've never seen it before.
Yeah, and you know,
for anyone that didn't see, it bounced off the monster, took a big hop, and then it rolled on the lip of the padding, which allowed 3 runs to score. I think if it was a normal bounce, it only 2-run score.
Yeah, and it was really close to hitting a fan. That would have been 2 runs as well. Man, it really is a truly quirky sport, and like, you want to get mad at it. You know, I play my nerdy baseball game, Out of the Park Baseball, and you see quirky stuff happen in that, and you just kind of shrug your head and be like, oh, it's a video game. Like, this is kind of silly. This doesn't make sense. Like, if I ever saw that someone hit a 3-run double to left field in Fenway down the line, I'd be like, that's ridiculous, because it's like 250 feet. But we saw it happen in a playoff game last night.
The Tony Kemp home run off the pesky pole would have been another beautifully weird baseball moment. He missed by about, and he was all frustrated, like he was running down the line watching it, and then it goes a foot shy of the pesky pole. Give you so, like, if you hit it, you're lucky, but he was all frustrated that he didn't. It's like hard to get frustrated over a 200-foot home run.
Yeah, you can't pretend that's skill.
Yeah. I mean, you can be,
because any other ballpark, that's like just foul halfway down the line.
That's like having like a rebound bounce off your head and then it almost goes into the basket, but it rolls out and you're pissed that it didn't drop. And it's like, well, yeah, but come on, like,
yeah,
it's a clown shot anyway.
I had that.
You know what I loved about this, and you know what's really hard is we're Yankee fans, talking Yanks, obviously, but. I want to talk shit about the Sox, but I can't. Like, I really can't. They beat us, so you can't. But I wanted to like send out some tweets, but I know that the responses are going to be nothing but like. But David Price getting through the first inning, and they told the story that Dustin Pedroia followed him into the clubhouse and like did a little like, well, yeah. Came out to the dugout. I was like, we're fucking good. He's through the first. We're good. And then he came. Did you hear that story? Or oh yeah, you were.
No.
I think you were recording Talking Knicks. Yeah, so they did that. They're like, yeah, it's a big burden that he got through the first unscathed. Here we go. And Dustin Pedroia went and talked. And then I'm playing it up a little more than they actually did, but it happened. And then he comes out for the second, ground out, single, double, pop fly, double, 2-run score, tie game. It's like, well, that first it was nice, but the second got bit.
Hey, and Price does deserve. I mean, a little love. It wasn't a great start. It was 4.24 runs or whatever. But hey, man, he gives up that homer to Marwin Gonzalez, and you're like, damn, David Price, it happened again. But he grinded a little bit, so partial credit.
I mean,
it's going to be a good series.
It wasn't that. It wasn't. I mean, David Price, he got the win, but I mean, when you really look at it, the first inning, right? He walked 2 batters.
Walk.
Yeah, walked 2 batters, but he got out of it, so who cares? The second inning, he gets the single, double, 2-run score. The third inning, it's single, home run, 2 more runs score. So he's got 2 bad innings and 1 good inning. And then the fourth is the only 1, 2, 3 inning, and then he comes out for the 5th. Walk, gets replaced. I mean, if Red Sox didn't put up 5 in the third and it was 4-0 and Garrett Cole's pitching good, this is a bad start by Price. And he gets pulled much earlier.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, just saying. It's his like best postseason start, but there's a lot of circumstances helped him out that were aside from his pitching.
Yeah, but it's crazy that baseball is this way now, but him getting through that 4th inning is like a big thing, especially for that team. If they have to give that inning to a Heath Embry or whoever it is, I mean, that game ends up a lot.
It's going to be a good series. Game 1, this is this is my baseball brain, not my Yankee fan brain, because I think Yankee fans think you're not allowed to say this. Justin Verlander is one of my favorite baseball players to watch.
It's insane. I when I think about it, the only name that comes to mind is like Nolan Ryan, what he's doing at this point. And like we barely saw Nolan Ryan. You and me more so saw Nolan Ryan highlights. Kind of, you can almost tell in the highlight if you're seeing young man or old man Nolan Ryan. And I mean that sounds dumb, but like when he was old man Nolan Ryan, he was like old man, like not like athletic older man. He was like old man, just letting it rip out there. And that's kind of what Verlander feels like. And I think he came out with some quote over the weekend that was like, he said something half obnoxious, but he said like, I'm starting the second half of my career or something like that. And everyone was like, oh shoot. But he looks
Nolan Ryan
incredible.
pitched till he was 46. Just wanted to get it out there. Yeah, we never saw him pitch because his last season was 93. So we've seen highlights. I've seen him punch Robin Ventura's face more than I've seen like full at bats from Nolan Ryan.
Right.
But Justin Verlander, the way he attacks batters, it's like awesome.
Right. There's no fear. He's basically said since he's joined the Astros and they fixed whatever mechanical problem they saw, or future steroids.
It's Pine Tar. Come on, Trevor Bauer.
Pine Tar. Right. The other teams don't have that. But basically, since he's joined the Astros, every at bat, he's never looked at a guy with like a 3-1 count and been
fucked.
like, I don't know. Maybe I'll throw that low and away slider that everyone throws. He's like, no, I'm gonna peg one in the zone, and you're still not gonna hit it. And it's a crazy mind f, and no one else has that demeanor
or can do it. They like some people might have it, but they just can't do it.
Maybe our boy Blake Snell.
Yeah. What's up, Blake? Thanks for listening.
But he's a guy that doesn't have his face doesn't look as confident.
He needs to do some stuff with the face there. Kind of looks like an evil guy from Aladdin with what he's rocking right now. Got a Jafar vibe to him. Speaking of evil people, Odell Beckham Jr. is a punk bitch. And I'm getting annoyed with people that defend his antics. And you know why? It's because everyone's crazy. Everyone's battling crazy. So did you watch the Thursday night game? Giants lost to the Eagles. Pretty bad game.
Yeah.
But Odell, here's 3 points I want to make very clear, Jake. I want to hear your take. Because people are fighting the crazies, so everyone's jumping to the crazy part of an argument. But here are, in the middle, 3 points. Eli Manning is not a good quarterback right now. 1.
What's the argument there?
Some people, there's no argument. These are the 3 points. Eli Manning's not a good quarterback. Okay. Odell Beckham is a very, very talented wide receiver. Sure. Odell Beckham's a punk bitch. So a lot of people, when I say like Odell is a weirdo, like guy's a distraction, they're like, "Oh, he's not allowed to be frustrated that Eli's bad." Like, you don't think everyone else is frustrated? You don't have to be a distraction and a self-centered like dude on the sidelines because you're frustrated. Otherwise, the whole entire sideline would be punching fans and screaming and crying on the sideline. So like saying Odell is a weirdo and a distraction is not saying he has no right to be frustrated. It's how he's acting is annoying. And I like started doing Giants Twitter and people were coming at me. Like there's like a slew of Odell Beckham, and they think because Eli's bad, that means Odell can do whatever he wants. Right. What are your thoughts? Do you have any? Are you in this at all?
I have a couple things that have me more in the middle than you. I mean, Odell has done a ton of special stuff. The thing that is popping up would be if they were winning a little more. I mean, they're 1-5. Like, you can't. When people hear someone complain about Odell, they think that's the reason the Giants are losing. And it's not. They have a ton of
Although
reasons.
He hasn't really been doing anything special.
And I think the other part that not Odell haters, but so I was watching college football game this weekend, Vandy versus Florida. And Shermer, the Giants head coach, his son is the quarterback at Vanderbilt. So he was at the game and he was in the stands. And, dude, like, during a random play, then, you know, they show him here and there when his son makes a good pass or something. But they said a line like, you know, oh, and we're happy to see Shermer in the stands having a good time, you know, now that he's away from that Giants team and the craziness that is Odell Beckham. And it's like, well, he's coached the team to 1-5. Let's not, like, they literally, some people that broadcast and get stuff out on the mainstream media make it seem like Odell is the problem. And it's like, no, this football team has a ton of problems.
I agree with that.
So people magnify the Odell stuff, and I could see when someone sees you saying Odell stuff, they get defensive and be like, dude, he's not the problem. And it's like, right, he's not the problem with winning football, but he's not helping, and it just makes everything
He's not
fun.
the problem, but he's a problem. Like,
yeah.
Barkley is outclassing him, outperforming him, out everything, and has played 5 games.
Yeah.
Barkley's special, dude. But that's what we were saying about Odell a couple years ago. But I mean, man, now I sound like
no, dude. But they're different breeds. Penn State has another running back. I forget what his name is, but he had like a crazy run. And I think Penn State's trying to become one of those. I mean, you have someone like Saquon Barkley. You recruit all the top running backs and say, hey, come be the next Saquon Barkley. But there was like his highlight video, and they were like, wow, look at the new Saquon. And Saquon Barkley tweeted something like, no, man, he's the next, and just said that guy's name. Like, he's special. And it's like Odell, what would Odell tweet? He'd be like, man, that guy's not in my league.
Odell's funny. Like, in his post-game interviews, after he's trying to stay calm and articulate, and he just kind of talks in a whisper, and, you know, I'm trying my best to do my best, and if I got to fire up the team by saying some things, and that helps the team, then that helps the team win football games. But we just got to keep trying. Everyone's got to keep attacking. It's like, talk, man. Just talk. Everything you do is a weird act.
There needs to be something better to get athletes' voices out there. This
hey,
is
man,
a weird thing. But I heard Jackie Bradley Jr. in an interview for the first time yesterday, and he was super soft-spoken, but like in kind of a cool way.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard Hicks' voice. No, Chris Carter. Sounded like Kermit the Frog.
Oh, my God. All the Mahomes stuff. We're not
Yo, Mahomes' voice is awesome.
It's hilarious. It's like so weird.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it.
Like if you're a teammate, you almost can't make fun of it.
Can you do an impression? Have you worked on it at all?
Not really. I won't jump there unless I get it good, because a lot of people have been doing it. But yeah, it's kind of like scratchy, high pitched Kermit the Frog.
Awesome. Sounds like a garbage disposal. It's his voice. He knows it. Yo, so do you want to talk about that game? I just caught like the last couple plays, but that rebuttal by Mahomes with that 10-second touchdown in the fourth was awesome. But
yeah.
Do you think? Now this is like annoying, but I think it's a topic. Do you think like it was a mistake to score so quickly? Can you ever say that?
It's yes and no. I mean, no, because a lot of humans wouldn't have scored that quickly. Tyreek Hill is insane. This isn't hot take central, but his speed is literally, it's next level. He caught it like 5 yards in front of the safety, coming near the sideline, and when he landed, he just accelerated past him. Like the safety, any other wide receiver in the league, the safety had the angle and at least pushes him out of bounds. He didn't lay a hand on him, and it's just kind of insane. So, no, you can't say that. I mean, the thing that was crazy about this game, and it kind of segued into my first topic, was and this is tough. You and me have New York
You want
sports
to segue?
roots.
Because we got to go. You want to go to next part of the show?
Well, it's gonna be it's a combo. I mean, what do you want to say?
I got to do the whole next segment. Drop it.
You got noises.
All right.
Okay.
So that
Give me
was
some
last night's
noises.
games, local stories, and now this is open forum. What you want to talk about, Jake? I don't have them. I'm going to put it in post. But it's Joey from Friends saying, "What do you want to talk about?"
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Nice, big friends up. So this is my what do you want to talk about? And this, Jim, this is tough because it's hard for me to come back to seem like I'm sitting in the middle because it is Boston, New England sports, and you turn a blind eye to it. If something happens that's miraculous in a Yankee game, I say, oh, the Yankees were so gritty and did it. If something ridiculous happens in a Red Sox or Pats or Celtics games, I'm like, are you kidding me? How do you do that? The Celtics had a couple wins last year that just the most ridiculous things happened. Like one time the Pacers had the ball and were up with like 3 seconds left. They throw it in the backcourt and Marcus Smart steals it and makes a layup and they win. When all Indiana had to do, a pro basketball team, was inbound it. But anyways, so I don't know if you saw this, but this was part of the discussion and leads into my first question. So New England's driving. I want to say they're down 3 at this point, and it's third down. They're on like the 7-yard line, 4-yard line, I think. Brady drops back. He pump fakes. He gets like tackled. So D-end, probably a guy that's 270 pounds, a rookie, has him wrapped up, and he goes, so he sees Brady, like when he has him in the grasp, he sees Brady do a pump fake, so the D-end lets him go because he doesn't want to get a roughing the passer penalty,
Yep.
And Brady runs into the end zone, and the look on, and so I will say this, because there were some people covering it that are like, you can't tell if he let him go, but if you look at the DN's face afterwards, it kind of tells the whole story. It's not like, damn, Brady got away from me. It's like, are you kidding me? So Brady runs into the end zone, and then you could start doing the whole how does the game go after that. But and not to get too corny about it, but
Say your question. What do you want to talk about, Jake?
I originally listed it as 50 years ago, and it's more like 75, but 50 still looks a lot different. But like, is football just gonna look when we're grandparents, when you're holding Jomboy the Third? Is football just gonna look like a totally different sport?
I am on the side that it's gonna die. Not completely, but I think it's going to fade. What's that Mark Cuban quote? Fat pigs get slaughtered.
I think other people have said that.
No, Mark Cuban said it about the NFL. Like, pig gets too fat, it gets slaughtered. And with like the Thursday night games, the Monday night games, the Sunday night games, Saturday, with all the new rule changes, with no one letting their kids play in high school, like a lot more people not letting their kids play in high school. Last 2 years, I didn't watch a lot of football. And I have something weird. Like, no, it's not weird. It's just me. Like, I loved the football culture of sitting down watching Red Zone. And we would go to Ed's house, and we would all sit down, and we watch Red Zone all day and play fantasy football. And we were the quintessential football 22-year-old fan or college fans. And I think that will always be good. But once I moved on from that, and I'm doing my own thing, and I have a job, and a girlfriend that wants to do stuff on Sundays, but I see my brother-in-law Brett, like he's still in the football family, so we're just different. We're like, I'm a baseball family. So, but for me, football kind of like, if the Giants aren't good, I don't care about the rest of the league anymore.
Right.
What for me personally, I used to love everything. And now I feel like the quarterback turnover rate is incredible. We have a lot of good ones coming this year, and hopefully they stick. But for a while, it was, quarterback comes for 2 years and then they're gone, and then 2 years and then they're gone. And there's maybe 6 quarterbacks that have been around for more than 5 years. Running backs is even less.
Yeah.
So it's kind of work to stay up to date with the NFL as a whole. It's like a project because the turnover at the key positions is crazy.
Yeah, and that's why they try to keep quarterbacks healthy. So if you're not necessarily a diehard Jets fan, you can come in and be like, oh, I love this Darnold guy. Hopefully he's there for 15 years. So that's why they have all these rules to keep the quarterback healthy. It's crazy because it is such a fabric. It is almost like a family thing almost. And if that gets passed down, it gets passed down. And you start thinking college football and the SEC and how that lifestyle is and how that leads into the NFL. I don't know. It turns into the whole too big to fail argument. I don't know.
Have there been good games this year? So I admittedly I'm gonna watch a lot of sports again because I have time. This is now like the job, and I like watching sports. I'm not trying to be anti-watching sports. I like watching sports, but there was a year, I believe it was 2014. Yeah, that would be Derek Carr's first season. Yeah, I believe it was 2014 where we went 6 weeks before there was a good football game, and then Packers played the Patriots, and I think it was with the replacement refs was this year, and finally the Packers played the Patriots on Sunday Night Football, and I remember everyone saying like, "Wow, that was a good, close, like talented football game. It wasn't flags every play. It wasn't sloppiness." So what's the play like been in your opinion? Because I don't know this season and last season. Is it better?
So
do you remember that time period?
Yeah, I mean the replacement ref times was hilarious because people didn't know whether to blame refs or players or both or everything or the league for not paying the refs. That's actually kind of exactly where we're at, Jim. And I mean that's the beauty of the NFL. There's always good games, but you don't necessarily know where it's going to be, and that leads to hope in fans that you can watch your Buffalo Bills somehow win 2 games in this season, even though their team is pretty bad. But that's kind of what last night's game was. You had the undefeated Chiefs against the Patriots in Foxborough, 40-43. Mahomes is supposed to be the next guy. Brady and the Pats, obviously, you don't need to tell that story, and the game is incredible, high scoring. This was everything the NFL wanted. But at the same time, it all depends your scope. Like, Chicago and Miami played a crazy game yesterday. They went to overtime. And then, dude, if there's one play you need to look up, I might have you look it up now. It's the end of the Tampa Bay-Atlanta game. So I'll paint the picture while you look. But so it's end of the game. Tampa Bay's driving back. They're down by 5. And so this is the story in Tampa Bay has been the whole Jameis Winston thing. He's kind of taken his job back after the Fitzmagic show early in the year. So they're coming down and they're on. There's a couple seconds left and they're on like the 25-yard line. And so normally you draw up a play that is like wide receiver streaks. It's one of those plays that the football just looks silly because basically Atlanta puts 8 guys in the end zone, including Julio Jones. And so what Tampa does was actually kind of genius. So Jameis drops back and he basically goes quarterback draw, and then he just bombs it down the middle. So Jameis probably gets to the 10-yard line. And they start doing the lateral show. So Jameis runs and
so I'm watching it now.
Yeah.
So they're at the Buccaneers 20, and yeah, it's 4 wide. Jameis takes the snap at the 25-yard line and just guns it right up the middle. Gets the first at the 10 and dives and throws it
full
back.
lateral mode.
Full dive forward in lateral mode. Pretty interesting. And then it's bobbled. Who picks this up?
Humphreys grabs it at first, I believe, but he kind of loses it. But it kind of works out because there's more attention there.
Yeah, he never has it. He tries to grab it at the 8-yard line, scoops it up, and as if you would scoop up a shovel and just toss it behind
Yeah.
you. That's kind of what he does with it. And then 13, Jameis picks
Mike
picks it up
Mike
again.
Evans snags it, like their star wide receiver.
Oh.
And you kind of don't, you still at this point don't really see what's happening, but he fully turns to the sideline and shoots it to Deshaun Jackson. And this is where it kind of gets fun, because then you do that like eyes wide open moment. You're like, holy smokes, did this work? Because it's Deshaun Jackson with about 5 yards of sideline to work with. The ball ends up going through his arms and through his legs, and everyone kind of lets out that, oh. There's also 5 Falcons players in pursuit of him. So he probably doesn't get there. I think the consensus is he gets popped by these 5 dudes. But
if it changed the throw and not the bobble.
Yeah.
Like change the throw to a hard to his chest throw, because that was like a short hop at his
and
feet.
yeah, you never if he does catch that, he's Deshaun Jackson. I mean, can he extend towards the pylon? But again, I mean, that's Atlanta Tampa, a game that comes down to a crazy ending. I mean, these two fan bases walk away saying that's an incredible game. I don't know, man. It's the NFL. Each team has hope going into every game. There's always 2 or 3 games a year that there's almost no explanation. Like the Bills killed the Minnesota Vikings, who were like everyone's favorite team coming into this year. So it's just another year for the NFL. I think their ratings are kind of back. So I don't know. What do you want to talk about, James?
This is where the show's going to change to fun topics, different topics, and it's always going to be open.
Right.
We kind of formatted a little like sports weirdness. Maybe we need to mix it. But anyway, here's what I want to talk about, Jake. I want to know if I'm a bad guy for bullying my grandma's dog, or if it's warranted because she bullies me all day.
Early answer from everyone's going to be yes, but let's get into it.
My grandma's dog, I posted it on Instagram story just to let everyone know how wild she is. She's insane. Yeah. She's like a devil jack-in-the-box. I think she has high anxiety, but it's like she just barks. She jumps up and down like a jack-in-the-box. She's crazy. She bullies my grandma around. So when she's like wants to get pet, or she's hungry, or she wants to go for a walk, she just barks in my grandma's face. Just like looks at her and barks in her face. So she's trying to do that to me. I've established dominance. She knows how to sit and stay. So I just make her sit and stay all the time, yell at her and stuff like that. Now I will pet her because I have a soft spot in my heart, and she wants to get pet. But she makes it hard to pet. She like wiggles around. She tries to bite you. It's like I don't make this a hassle. I'm at the end of the line. I've broken like the other day, yesterday. I wake up. I'm in such a good mood because fall came on the East Coast. What's today? Monday, Saturday, Jake. Right. Friday, it was 80 degrees and sunny, and I was just waiting because it's like the whole breeze changes, and it changed. It got cold, not cold, but like crisp air.
Crisp.
Crisp. You smell the leaves, and I was so happy, dude, because I lived in Northern California for the last 4 years, and I'm always depressed in September and October when it's still 85 degrees and sunny, and I have to wear shorts and a t-shirt and be sweaty. And all I want to do is put on my boots, my jeans, a hoodie, and be comfortable. So I'm so happy yesterday, but I'm also on day 7 with this dog when my grandma's in Japan. And I find myself trying to feed her. I had to pick up shit, piss, and then she peed again because my grandma trains her to pee in the house. And I just screaming at this dog. Like, sit down, stay, And I am not a rage-induced person. Like, that's probably the most rage I've ever had. So she's driving me to the brink. I feel like a crazy person. The only way I got her to stop barking, and this is mean, I put her in her crate. She likes being in her crate. And I tilted it up against the dresser, so her balance was a little off. And she couldn't get out, but she couldn't sit. And I didn't do this for long, maybe like 3 minutes tops. But it confused her enough that I got 3 minutes of no barking. Am I a bad guy?
Yeah, at the end there, I mean, I don't want to say animal torture, because
she's torturing me.
You kind of realize that. Yeah, I mean, you're in a tough spot because it's grandma's dog. The the dog clearly hasn't been trained that well. I made the joke to you. People talk about animal cruelty, but they don't talk about human cruelty, which the dog's doing to you a little bit. And yeah. I think the other point you missed out where you could get some people on your side is that there's like a front house and like a back house kind of, and
it's one lot with two houses.
You put the dog in the front house for a little bit, and the dog was still loud enough to be heard and annoying you.
One house away, over my TV, I heard her scratching and barking, so I had to go in there and get some peace and quiet. Yeah. I mean, I let her sleep on the bed with me. I pet her. She's just the worst.
It's kind of a weird thing.
My grandma comes back in 2 days.
It's actually pretty shocking that there's not more, like, animal rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, that each pet doesn't have to go to a certain training or something like that? Because
this dog went to training for 3 months. My grandma just erased all of it.
Right.
My grandma doesn't. I love my grandma so much, and my grandma loves this dog. It's not a good dog for her. She should have got a dog that's like my dog, Zimmer, who's very calm.
Right.
Not the most hyper, whatever. So it's a real big dilemma. Like, am I a bad guy that this dog has broken my brain?
It's a yes and no. If it was your dog, then yes, because you'd kind of be responsible for that. But because it's your grandma's, I mean, no, you cannot like that dog. It's like not liking a person. Like, you know me, I have a big dog, and right now he's still puppyish. He's a little over a year and a half, but he's
always going to be puppyish because he's a doodle.
A little bit. I mean, he's gonna have that excitement to him, but I mean, in the first 5-10 minutes, if you're a stranger that comes into our apartment, he's going to want to. He's 60 pounds and he's long. He's like 5 feet when he's on his hind legs. He's going to want to get on you a little bit and give you licks. And I can understand if you're not a dog person, you're not going to like that. But if you can get through those, and it literally is like 10 minutes max, where he's just so excited. If you can get past that, like, he'll be your dream dog after that. Like, he will put his head on your lap. He will let you pet him. He turns into a teddy bear. But, like, I get it. If you're only in my apartment for 5 minutes and you don't like my dog for those 5 minutes, I fully understand. But, like, if you don't get past that and give him that opportunity, then you're there. But, yeah, I mean, hey, it almost turns into, can you not like a person? And, like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
So.
All right. You got something else you wanted to talk about.
I got something to say. No. And again, we're spinning away from sports pretty quickly. This is something that I don't want to say keeps me up at night, but it has. And the question is, are desserts just meals that aren't healthy enough to eat a whole portion or serving of? And so let me give a couple examples. So let's start with we'll do both ends of the spectrum. Cheesecake. If 2 slices of cheesecake were 400 calories, would that be a dinner? Now let's go the other way. If just a single taco was 1,000 calories, would that make tacos a dessert? When I said the general question, do you get where I'm at?
I get it. I'm trying to figure it out. I think a dessert has to be savory or sweet. Like, there's not any meat desserts. Unless you eat the 7-layer pie from Friends, another Friends
right.
episode.
A lot of Friends references.
I think you have to have chocolate or sugar heavy to make a dessert a dessert. Can you name a dessert that isn't sweet?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to think of right now. But I guess that turns into part of the problem. Like, is chocolate the problem? Can chocolate not be in any meal? And is that because it's not healthy?
Yeah, because I think in the beginning of like food, you're not supposed to eat a full meal of chocolate because it's unhealthy. So yes, I think, and you're not supposed to eat a lot of sweets. So yeah, I think that you said your thing. I broke it down that no, desserts are sweet, and now you're saying yes, but desserts are sweet because you're not supposed to eat a ton of sweets as a meal. So in the end, yes, desserts are meals that aren't healthy enough to eat as a whole meal. I think that's
and
what
I guess
is.
I was looking for desserts with meat in them, and it's usually like sprinkling bacon on something, or like a donut that's got like pork belly in it or something kind of off like that. I don't know. It literally like messes with my mind because I feel.
What's your favorite dessert?
I mean that's a heavy question. Like cheesecake is probably close up there.
What's your favorite dessert category? Do you like pies? Do you like cakes? Do you like candy? Do you like a little bit of chocolate? Do you like pastries, like cannolis and that stuff? Because I can throw pastries and cannolis completely out. They're not. They're bottom of the barrel if I'm picking at a dessert.
I guess that's for me. It's a mood, and it's like what I want after that. That's not a great statement. I mean, ideally, you're probably looking at a cheesecake-ish type thing, but like a good cannoli is right there with it. And like I like some candies too. I'm candy over chocolate normally. But again, like if I want, I don't know, Sour Patch Kids or something like that, like that's a totally different mood than if I want cheesecake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
So what's your ideal?
Cookies, brownies. Like that's if you put a whole tray of desserts in front of me, I'll reach for a cookie or a brownie.
Ice cream cake?
Ice cream cake's good, but ice cream does bad things to me.
Oh, right. What if it didn't?
Yeah, ice cream's delicious.
Okay.
Like ice cream is so good, but I can't eat a lot of it. All right, next thing. This is a news story. I want to try and incorporate more news stories. Did you see this? I don't know if you're going to like it, but an Idaho wildlife official is being urged to resign over a photo of him and a baboon family he killed. It's him. It's like a dad baboon, a mom baboon, a kid baboon, and the caption says, "Just killed a family of baboons." The caption's tough. I initially just thought this was wild story, and then I actually dug into it, and now I'm super interested. So I want to lay out all the aspects to you and get your opinion, but I want your opinion first now before I give you all the details. Okay. Should this guy be fired? Is this guy a bad guy? Good guy? What's your thoughts right away? Wildlife official in Idaho goes on a safari, posts a picture with a family of baboons and his gun. They're all dead. He says, "Just killed a family of baboons." They say, you're fired. What are your thoughts?
I think there's something in everyone that's either a gene or I don't know what it is. But everyone has had this moment in their life where I think they either, as a youth, you throw a rock or you throw something and you hit a bird or a squirrel or whatever it is. And for probably 3/4 of the people in the world, they go down into a dark place and they're like, "Oh my God, I just hit a squirrel with a rock. Like, who the fuck am I?" And then I think there's another like 1/4 of the population that are like, "Did you see me just hit that squirrel?" And that's kind of the whole hunting debate. And I mean, I don't know all the laws and stuff, and maybe I'm soft, but dude, I see almost any hunting picture, and let me say this, like, I get it. If there's legal hunting where deer and stuff are overpopulated, like, I don't have a problem with you. Like, knock yourself out. But I know someone on my girlfriend's just, like, Instagram feed posted a picture of them, like, hunting, like, African animals, like safari hunt. And I was like, oh, my God, like, this does nothing for me. Like, I think this is awful. So I lean there with baboon family.
Eradication, and so to sum it up for you, because I'm the same way, eradication and food, fine. Trophy, no go.
Yeah, I guess where things get mixed for me there is I think there's trophy hunting for like bucks and deer and stuff that's legal.
Yeah, it can be combo, but when it's trophy for trophy's sake. So baboons are on the list of eradication where he was. They are a problem the same way kind of raccoons, deer in Connecticut are. And they are on the list of, like, a lot of people say, like, we're not supposed to hunt the children because that's what your sons are going to need to eat. Baboons aren't that way. You kill them all because there's too many. They're ripping people apart. They tear cats apart with their bare hands. They're like a problem. So where this dude went, right, he works for the wildlife in Idaho, and they have the same problem with wolves and like coyote, where we got to get rid of these. They're bad for the environment. There's too many of them. So he was like, I went to Africa and I did the same thing there that I do for you that you pay me to do in Idaho. But because it's an animal that I think this is because baboons kind of look like humans in the shape. And it's the family. And then one Idaho wildlife said, like, I understand that, but when we kill a family of wolves, we don't prop them up as a family portrait and then post underneath it, just killed a family of wolves with a smile. So now he's getting fired because he enjoys his job. It's a very tricky situation. I mean, the picture, I don't like it. It's like there's a little baby baboon. I hate animals, but I don't want to see them dead. But isn't that tricky? Like, he did in Africa what he's paid to do in Idaho, but now he's getting fired for it because the animal that he killed, and the fact that he enjoyed doing the job, it doesn't sit well with them. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, animal people are nuts.
People that love animals.
Let's just call a spade, and like I love certain animals. Like you could never tell me something about certain kinds of dogs or like penguins, and I would be cool with a bad thing happening to them. Like I have that like animal person gene for just like a few specific animals, but I think the final note you said was right. Like, okay, if these baboons are really a problem, and they are, if you can do the comparison to, you know, whether it's wolves or bears are overpopulating an area, I think that resonates better with people. And I think something you could send back at the animal people would be like, hey, the baboons are dangerous, blah blah blah. And what would they say? Like, I think normally, 20 years ago, they would say, oh, couldn't we put these baboons in a zoo or something? But now zoos are bad. So, like, that's not an option either for the animal people. So it's like, what do we really want here?
A mountain lion got loose in a zoo. I forget where this was. I saw the news. So I had to shut down the zoo. But, like, that mountain lion had been like, what the fuck is this?
What are you assholes doing? Dude, that's like that's basically Westworld, but for animals.
For that mountain lion, just whoa. You got one of every. You guys stuck? What is
Get
this?
me out of here.
All right. We got Twitter question of the day from John Ferraro Johnny Pinstripes. Thin crust pizza or deep dish? Real quick. I'm thin crust. I don't dislike deep dish. I think it's not in the same essence of eating pizza, though. I lived in Chicago for a little bit. That's why East Coast, man, back here, you're in Denver. I don't know your thoughts on this, but you cannot find the pizza that you find in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, elsewhere. I've lived in Illinois. I've lived in Denver. I've lived in California. You just can't find it. And people that aren't from the East Coast and didn't grow up with it, it's impossible for them to appreciate the difference because they've muted their pizza taste buds with Domino's and Round Table and Little Caesars.
Jimmy, I think I actually have a pretty good comparison for this.
All right,
because I've lived in Dallas and Denver outside of the East Coast. So like two major cities, and kind of like it depends where you are in the country. This is probably another topic for another day, but like you can view those cities as Midwest, you can view Denver as West, you could view Dallas as the South. There's a lot of ways you can view them, but cities that are in the middle of America. And I think a good sports pizza comparison that I just thought of, and I got excited for myself that I thought of this, is pizza in these cities, a lot of the places you're going to go, it would be the equivalent to in football if a team ran trick plays like every play. Like if there's a few places in Denver where you're going to go in and like the big thing they're going to hit you with is like, we have a mac and cheese pizza or we have
taco pizza.
Yeah, or we
because their base, their bread, their sauce, and their cheese isn't good. So they have to load it with toppings. That's like all my friends in California need at least 5 toppings, like meat lovers or veggie comes with a million things. Where on the East Coast here, you get pepperoni, like 1 topping because the base of the pizza is so good. That's a good comparison. It's all trick plays.
Yeah, and we're a little spoiled because I guess we did grow up around it, and like New Haven is the mecca of pizza. You'll see it on every pizza list every year. I mean, New York City. And Boston's got some good pie, too. I'm not going to poo-poo on Boston pie. But it's crazy. I went back and had Frank Pepe's a couple weeks back, and it's normally, if you were to throw a slice of, like, regular cheese pizza in front of me, I'm going to give you a shrug. But if you're at one of those places, you kind of let it ride, and you're like, okay, like, we're doing this.
The best way.
I would say it's. We just talked about, or I just talked about cheesecake and cannoli. Like in my brain movies, like what's going on inside a cannoli and what's going on inside a cheesecake doesn't seem that different to me. But I would say I would juxtapose those to like a cheesecake being regular pizza and a cannoli being like pizza you'd find in Denver or something like that. Like it's 2 different breeds, and I almost picture I'll make one final comparison. It's the burger competition in Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah. It's like veggie burger.
It's
with
like
all these
you
toppings
can do a totally cool veggie burger and it's something and there's a health aspect to it. But if you just make a mean cheeseburger, I mean that's what it is, baby.
Yep. How to tell frozen pizza from hand-rolled pizza, and all the pizza in California is frozen because it's all franchised pizza places, is if it's perforated like a cardboard box, you can see like the honeycomb.
Right.
That means it was frozen. If there's no honeycomb, that means hand-rolled fresh, which you don't find in California anyway. All right. That about wraps up this episode. First trial episode. You know what, Jake? I thought about while doing this. I might post this on Patreon and just say,
sure.
What are your thoughts?
Thoughts, reviews.
Maybe. Brewers versus Dodgers tonight, which has been wild with no starting pitcher. The Brewers are reinventing pitching, outgetters.
Yeah.
Dodgers are pretty fun. There's been some good battles in this series with Jeffries.
Yeah.
Jeffries has gotten the job done, barely. I think he's going to get lit up one game.
Who did Turner get one off of?
I wasn't watching the end because I was cooking.
I'll look that up.
So
go on.
I didn't see. But Jeffries for the Brewers, man, he's predictable, and his slider curve, whatever it is, he hasn't been able to get it down for the 2 games, the 2 appearances. But Machado got him for 2 runs. But my prediction would be Jeffries is going to get lit.
Well, Jim, they already did.
He's
the one that blew the last game. So it's not really a hot take.
Shit. Well, I didn't see that. So I didn't know that's who he got him. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, then it makes sense. He already got lit up. Dude, he doesn't look good. They threw him the first day, and Machado got to him for 2 runs, but they held on.
Yeah. And
then I must have seen the first inning when he got Puig with a 2-2 pitch for the second day in a row. But I was like, this dude looks bad. Like the Dodgers have to be able to sit on everything he's throwing if they've watched tape, and I guess they did. So it's nice to be right. I didn't know.
And no, I think it's a mental.
Jeffries.
It's a mental thing. You and me talk about it a lot when we talk Yankees, Red Sox. We talk about guys you fear. If you're the Dodgers and you see Jefferson and you don't see Hader, I mean that's a win for you currently.
Hader's incredible.
Hader's nuts. He's a guy that if you get a little blood in the water, you get excited. Like if you get a runner on first on Hader, you're like, holy smokes, we've got a special opportunity here. We might not get this opportunity all series.
It was the Yankees versus Verlander last
If you
year.
see Jeffress or I actually like Corey Knievel, Evil Knievel. But if you see either of those guys in, I mean, your eyes have to light up if you're Dodgers. As long as you know it's not Hader, you're a lot more excited as a team and you look at it as an opportunity. And that's that's going to be the overlying thing in this series. And Jim, I'm rooting for Brewers. One of our good buddies is a Brewers fan, and I mean it's a different team. It's almost underdog-ish.
Who's a Brewers fan?
Jeff Krauser.
Oh, yeah, Kraus.
Wow, Rude Patrol.
I thought you were talking about a PFB group chat.
I mean, this whole relief pitcher thing is going to move and shake, and it's going to be a moving target for probably over a decade. Outgetters is still a great term by the Brewers, but the more outs you can get, the better, and that's why starting pitchers have been better for years. Because if you,
I feel like they could have just called them pitchers. We don't have starters. We don't have relievers. We just have pitchers.
If you can still have a pitcher, like Hader went 3 innings the last game, and the thing with starting pitchers that we've been ignoring, and this ties into one of my dream baseball theories, is like, hey, tell Tanaka or tell Clayton Kershaw to try to buckle down for 4 innings, and that's still a lot more important. And I think baseball's just going to switch that way, where instead of baseball, it used to be accepted that, hey, if you can have a starting pitcher go 6 innings, 2 earned runs, that's the dream. Now baseball is going to get the lead, try to give up no runs. And so if you can burn out 2 guys that each give you 3 innings to only give up 1 or 0 runs, like that's the future of baseball. And like I think you're going to see starters go away from 7 innings, and you're going to see relievers go away from 1 innings, so that we have a bunch of 4-inning and 2-inning guys, and eventually that's how the game is going to go.
Yeah, I think it's bad for entertainment. I've talked about that on Talking Yanks before, but it's like strategy-wise good, but I think bad. I think it's the same thing when you say there's too much turnover in the NFL, like on a whole with like quarterbacks and running backs, just like every 2 years. In one game, if you can't like know who's starting, you can't buy, I'm going to a Justin Verlander game, I'm going to a CeCe Sabathia game. I think marketing-wise, it's bad for the entertainment value, even though it's good for the strategy of winning, which is where you'll lose the casual fans but gain the diehards. And that's the line MLB has been towing for so long. And there's the 80-20 rule, which I think pace of play, I've said, don't service the 80% of casual fans to get the 20% of diehards who spend all their money mad. But I'm kind of, with this stuff, I'm worried about the 80% of casual fans. Like, I don't think baseball's that much fun if you have 4 pitchers going every day and you don't really know.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean,
hard to market the 2-inning, 4 and 5th inning reliever.
In the first game, the Brewers used 7 pitchers. And I mean, the Dodgers used 6 pitchers. So we came into this season saying, hey, we could speed up the game a little bit if we have golf carts from the bullpen to the mound. And now it's like, it's a whole horse and pony show. So yeah, it's almost like baseball's product is going to be improving. You wonder if they start making pitchers have to pitch a certain amount of pitches or something. Because at the same time, the side effect of this, Jimmy, is the more fresh pitchers you have and the better pitchers you have coming into the game means less hitting, and that's where sports make their money. It's more 3-point shots and dunks in basketball. It's more points in football. It's more home runs and more scoring in baseball.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, 49ers Packers. You watching this game, Monday Night Football? Probably not.
For some fantasy implications, it sucks that Jimmy G's out and the Niners season has kind of gone down the tubes. I've got an Aaron Rodgers Cobb combo in one fantasy league, so I'll half root for that. It'll be on. It'll be on.
All right. What else do we got going on today? You have 2 episodes of Talking Knicks, Grab Bag, and Porzingis, and I have Six Pack Cinema podcast. We reviewed the movie First Man with Ryan Gosling about Neil Armstrong going to the moon.
Oh, you saw that?
Yep.
Looks awesome.
You can find my full opinion on Six Pack Cinema with the guys, but wasn't for me.
Okay. Did you see White Boy Rick?
No, I heard it was really bad, but I really want to see it.
Yeah, dude. That was like the most exciting preview I've seen in a long time. And I think it's just because McConaughey looks sketchy and it was a true story.
Yeah, but it's getting bad reviews. But yeah, I wanted to root for Neil Armstrong, but like I guess he was not a fun person.
Could see that.
Like he's a dud of a personality, and instead of making it a good movie and making you want to root for him, they played it correct to form and made him a dud. And it's like I want he's a dud.
I've got a hot take for you, Jim.
Yeah?
I think to be an astronaut you have to be a dud.
Well, Buzz whatever his name is. Buzz Aldrin's a dick, like a funny but he's an asshole, and they made him an asshole. And I kind of liked him more because he had personality, even though he was a dick.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think to get through all that NASA stuff and training, it's almost like military. You get, 1 out of every 100 military guys can actually have a sense of humor and really let it rip and still put up with all the military bullshit. I feel like NASA has to be that times a million. To get through the NASA stuff and be one of the 10 people they let in space every 20 years. I don't think you can be like me and be like, hey, what are we doing today? Yeah, let's spin the machine.
I know, but I'm saying it doesn't make for a good movie.
That's fair.
Yeah. But my co-hosts on there, Dave and John, they liked it more than me. And there are some really good aspects. So if you saw the movie, because it's spoilers, but if you saw it and you want to hear 3 people's thoughts on it, go check out Six Pack Cinema, Talking Knicks, Grab Bag, and Porzingis, and that about ends this show. Should I play the same song we played at the beginning? We're gonna have to figure out what we want to do music-wise. But final thoughts, Jake?
He loved it.
He loved it. All right, see you guys. Thanks for listening to the test episode of Jomboy and Jake Radio. We'll be back. This is gonna be a daily show, but this one probably you didn't even hear because it's just a test episode, unless you scroll back into the feed. Whatever. See you guys.